everyone, Melanie Muenchinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I have a really fun project for you with one of my newest sets from Gina K Designs, Pressed Flowers 2. Now this look can be created with several other sets that I have, the Coordinating a Year of Flowers 2, which is the line art, or you can do it with the A Year of Flowers and Pressed Flowers set, which is the more realistic version of these year-round seasonal flowers. I've also done a stair-step design like this using my A Year of Flowers 2, the line art like I just mentioned, but on that particular card they came out before I had these bold fillers and before we had the dies that went with the images. So if you're interested in that video, you can see some simple coloring with alcohol markers as well as fussy cutting out 3 borders for the stair steps. But I wanted to recreate this card again now that we have these fillers, so you can do just stamping and then just use the dies to do all the cut work for you. We're going to be making this really nice fold up little cascading bouquet. It's got these 3 levels, so we're going to be using a little scoring tool and scoring board. I will post the measurements below. But the products that you're going to need for this particular card are going to be just a single sheet of cardstock. This is the Gina K Pure Luxury Heavy Base Weight White. This is 8.5 by 11. We are going to cut this down into 2 pieces so that you're going to have a piece that is 5 inches wide by 10.5 inches long, and then that remaining piece is going to be for all of those die cut flowers. The ink pads that we're going to be using today, I've got the Gina K Wild Dandelion, the Tomato Soup, the Grass Green, the Jellybean Green, and then the Memento Tuxedo Black for doing our stamping. Just 1 acrylic block for all the stamping. Obviously we have the die set and the stamp set. I'm going to be using the Score Buddy, so this is a smaller one. I'm going to post measurements for both. We're going to be flipping the paper to use it on this smaller version to make all of those scores. You're going to need some adhesive, so either a tape runner or foam squares, or I'm out of foam squares, so I'm going to be using some scissors and the foam tape. And then you're going to need a die cutting machine for cutting out those pieces. Let's do our stamping first though, and then we will get to creating that stair step by scoring our card. So here's all of those different images. So I just put the 1 piece of paper down inside my Cuttlebug. Then I put down all of the dies that I was going to be using, rolled it through, and then just moved them up until I had them all done. They didn't even fall out, so it's really easy just to transfer that over to my desk and do the stamping. So for this particular card, the pieces that I used, I've got this flower, this rose, the leaf I like to use with the rose, and then this fern leaf, okay? But again, you can use this in any combination of flowers. I wanted to do some nice fall colors today, so let's go ahead and stamp out those leaves. Got 2 different greens here that I'm going to be using. And we can do some rolling. I didn't do that on the first card, but I might as well since I have the 2 green inks. So what we're going to do is we are going to ink up our image with the lighter green first, and then just do a little bit of rolling onto the darker one, and then stamp, okay? So again, the lighter green, a little bit on the darker green, and then stamp. So every single one is going to come out just a little bit different. Last one. And for more contrast, you can use the fresh asparagus. These were just the first 2 greens that I grabbed. The reason that I wanted to use the Jellybean green, and I think I forgot to show this in the supplies, I'm using one of the Gina K Coordinating Pure Luxury envelopes. So I like to use that as a guide when I'm making sure that my flowers are going to fit when I make them go off the sides of the card. Now let's do that fatter leaf. So I'm going to do that with the light green, and then roll on the dark green. And you can pop these out if you want. Just find that sometimes they stick to my work surface and I have a hard time picking them up. So see how it pulls out, it kind of sticks to that image. I'm just going to go ahead and take this one out. I'm not going to layer them all on today, I don't think. I don't want to make it take too long. but this is just going to give you an idea of how to do all of these images. Now I love how this rose turned out, and I really wanted to make it look like one of those antique roses that has a gorgeous yellow and oranges on the petals, almost like they're individually painted. So we're going to take the tomato soup and the wild dandelion. I'm going to go ahead and pop these out so I don't have to keep turning the stamp. Okay, so we've got all of our roses here. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp each of them just so you can see how they're going to look different from each other. All right, so we're going to do the yellow first. Always do the lighter one first. And then I'm just tapping the corner of this all over, but I'm twisting and tilting the pad so that I'm not getting really hard lines on there. And then you're just going to lay it over that and pull it away. And it's going to fade a little bit as the ink dries and become more watercolored looking. Pull that away. And that one came out a little bit more liney from the edges of that than I wanted. So I can cover that up a little bit with my other flowers, the red ones. Okay. And then, so instead of doing the rolling, I'm just gonna, I like the technique of just tapping the corner on there better. And rather than starting over, there's one you just really don't like, you can re-ink your image and then just stamp down over it again. So let's try that on this one. I'm just going to put on just a little bit more of the orange. And I'm just going to line that up again and stamp it. Okay, so that one's a little bit darker. That turned out pretty. So that's one great thing about clear stamps, that you can just go back, and I just did that to blend it, but you don't want to get too much of that dark ink on your other lighter pad. Okay, that's really pretty. So that's going to fade again. And then let's just do, I'm going to do this flower solid. So bring this back over here. And that one has a center, and so we're going to roll those centers as well when we add those to the flowers. So I've got this one, and again, this is in the tomato soup, and here, so fun not cutting these out after all this time. Okay, and then finally this one. And then the last thing that we have to do is just to add those centers. So this is the center here that goes with this flower, and you can substitute others, but that's the one that's the perfect fit. So we're going to start with the yellow. Move this. Start with that yellow, and I'm just going to roll that just a little bit around the edges. So they're all going to look different. Some of them are going to turn out a little bit darker. Just takes a really light touch just around the edge. Okay. All right. So that's all the stamping that we'll do for our flowers. And then let's go ahead and get our little base scored. All right. So the reason why we use a piece that is a little bit narrower instead of the 5.5, which is what we usually use for A2 size cards, that's going to allow us to put flowers going off of the edge. So the sections that we want to create here, first you're going to want to create one at the 1 1/4 inch mark. So this is the lowest one, and I'm just going to score that a couple times. Then we need to have a section that is equal to that, so 1 1/4 over, so we're going to be at 2.5. Score that a couple times, make sure that it's right up against the fence. Then we're going to do one at 4 1/4, and there's that little asterisk there that shows you that mark because stair step cards are so popular. Okay, and then we're going to do one at the 6 inch mark. Okay, and to create this final section here, we're going to be doing it at 8 1/4 if you've got the larger Score Pal, but since I have the Score Buddy, I'm going to flip it over. And you'll see on here, this final section is 4 1/2, so half of that, that's how you remember it's going to be at the 2 1/4. Okay, so we're going to fold this up, but first I just want to lay out my flowers here. I'm also going to just go ahead and stamp my little greeting for the front, and it's just going to go just below where I put my flowers. So I've got the little hello, and you can wait to do this stamping, but I just want to make sure that I'm not getting ink on those flowers. So in my other video, I have got the flowers going all the way across, but you don't have to do that. I'm going to do these just in sections so that I've got just some little spaces, but that they're peeking out. So we'll do a red one here and here. And you can even have them built up way above that top layer. As you can see here, you don't even have to attach it onto the back of that base. You can attach them to the other flowers. So you can go really high with these. But when I place them out, I just use the envelope as a guide and fold it up. And then this is going to show me how much room I have to stack those flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and just do these folds really quickly. And I'm not going to put all the flowers on, but I'll put on just some so you can see each one. So there are those 3 sections here. So let's go ahead and we're going to put just a couple here at the edge. So I'm going to do the foam adhesive. And thanks for your feedback last week. Most people said they definitely like to see the card from start to finish, so that's what I'm trying to do today. Okay. And you can create a stair step with just a few blooms. You don't have to fill it up quite so much. That's just totally up to you what you're going for. And so see, we can hang off the edge there, and we still have a little room on the other side, so I just keep checking it, going back and forth. And then we're going to do just a couple little leaves in there. And it's really fun arranging these different flowers, and I just try to make it balanced so the yellow and the orange kind of move back and forth on those different flowers. So your eye just kind of travels back and forth on the card. So put one here. And then another piece. So it's going to kind of keep popping around, but this is the best way that I have found to just really make sure that it's all going to fold up and look how you want it to look when it's folded and when it's flat. So let's go ahead and we're going to put some in the back there. So I'm going to get some foam for those pieces. And you want to make sure that the foam that you are adding is on the very bottom of the flower so that it's hitting the very top of that layer but not going over. You don't want your foam to be overlapping there because then it's going to stick to that next level of the card. So that's something that you want to check just right before you put it on. So I'm going to put one over here. And I'm trying to make some of the roses in front and then some of the red flowers back, just so that they're overlapping. And then I wanted to put one right up here, and I think I'll put this one in the back that I overstamped. And then we're going to have some flowers in that middle section so that you're seeing flowers all the way across, just traveling like a cascade on the card. I'll put one here in the middle. And then I want to have one of these flowers, I'm going to do it up here. So instead of putting it on the back of this rose, I'm going to put it right here on the back of this flower, like that. And then you're going to want to position this and just make sure that it's going to fit within your card. So plenty of room there. Okay, so that's all covered up. And then you just want to add in a couple leaves. So I'm going to put just a piece of foam on the back here, and that gives me a spot that I can add the leaf. So just lay it on and then press. And then let's do another one of those little fern pieces and one more flower over here. And then I'm going to call it done. Now, if you want to add even more interest to these flowers, again, you can take the line art images and go over this so they have kind of a pop with a bold outline. I'm going to do this one right here and this right here. But I just love this design. People are always so wowed by it when they open it up. So fun and lasts longer than sending real flowers. And then you've got space in here to write. So again, here's the card open and then fold it up. You're going to have those different little sections right there. And I would put another little leaf, just some other things over here to balance it so that it's all nice and balanced in that envelope. And then the final thing that I did is I just put some of those leaves stamped in the grass green on the back of the flap there. But I love these coordinating envelopes. I'm going to get them in more colors because it just really dresses up the look, and it's just so exciting to get a colored envelope in the mailbox. You know that it's not a bill. I hope you enjoyed this project today. Please visit my blog, Hands, Head, and Heart, for more ideas and inspiration using all of our stamp sets, and visit us at Stamp TV. Thank you for watching today. God bless.